So I'm not gonna act like this is the first time in history that something like this has happened, but it is especially annoying given the details of everything.
Give me your wig. Give me your wig. Give me your wig. You don't know what to do.
I can already tell that this is gonna kind of turn into a bit of a rant, so I apologize in advance, and I'll try to keep my thoughts as streamlined as possible, as focused as possible. But I think we should start with the overall conversation, the overall concept, and then get down to the specifics. The main point is that a lot of times some of these pieces of media just be exploitative as fuck, and then they feed this sensationalism that just desensitizes people to certain things. And then to me, I feel like that leads to interesting, I guess, views on violence or violence being excused. I don't know. It just feels like it could create or already has created a cycle, a weird cycle of like violence happening, people seeing the shit on national TV, national media, sensationalizing the person who did it, people who do it. It gets turned into fucking TV and entertainment, and then it's like I said, desensitizing to the violence, and then I feel like that just can lead to even more fucking violence, especially if you don't take the shit seriously. And it's one thing, because we can have conversations about like fictional violence and all that shit, whatever, like that's a whole different ball game to me, especially when you have some of these family members coming out and saying, hey, like this shit is re-traumatizing me. The family members of the victims, hey, this shit is re-traumatizing me. Hey, just want to let y'all know that these were real people. And so I want to be honest and say I have not watched this shit, so I can't speak on the specifics, but I can definitely speak on people's fucking reactions to what's been going on. So you got Ryan Murphy, and that white gay know how to flip a coin. I will say that. Even though we can talk about the quality of the content, or honestly, I don't. Let's not talk about it, because what's to talk about? We can talk about it, but that white gay, he know how to flip a goddamn dollar. He know how to get people talking about some shit, at least for maybe 2 seasons, 3 seasons, right? So yeah, my thoughts are probably pretty disjointed, but the main point I'm trying to say before we get into it, is that I really feel like this entire society needs to have a real, like, humbling moment, a real discussion, a real consideration of how real stories of violence are reflected in media, how real stories of violence are portrayed, and how the serial killers and the abusers and shit, like how they're positioned in media. Like, we just need to, people need to talk about that shit. I just think that shit can get very dangerous. So now, because of this show, and you know, Evan Peters, I'm sure every time Evan Peters see Ryan Murphy come in with another deranged person for him to play, Evan Peters is like, oh my God, here we go again. Here we go again. I don't know, but I guess a check is a check. Either way. What I'm saying is, this show came out and got everybody not everybody's talking about the shit. Everybody talking about the shit, and I don't know. I think the best way to navigate these kinds of conversations is to think about how a family member of the victim, if you were related to the victim, if you were, because it seems like a lot of times people can only think in terms of what if I was related, what if it affected me. So if that's the only thing that people can rely on to calm their dumb asses down, then fine, we'll do it. If you need to think about the way that you would feel if this was happening, if these kinds of conversations were happening, if this media was being presented about one of your family members, one of your friends that fell victim to this person, like that, I feel like when you think about that, take your conclusions, take what you got from that, and then apply it to how you navigate the conversation and the situation. And the reason I say that is because it's so fucking annoying to see these gay men, especially these black gay men, no shade. I'm seeing some, it's not all, obviously, because before y'all get my comments, it's some gays, some black gays lusting over Jeffrey's fucking mugshot. Like, it's so corny. It's so corny. Y'all acting like this person is, a shitty character from Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. Bitch, this is real life. What do it's just annoying because like I said, I feel like it contributes to a cycle of violence. Like, these kinds of reactions contributes to a cycle of violence. If you're over here lusting over somebody, and it's not just the gays that do it, but the reason why I'm focusing on the gays is because of Jeffrey's fucking victims. Look at this article. I'm gonna be drawing from it for a little bit. While the series, I think just from Women's Health or something. While the series is a fictionalized account of Jeffrey's crimes, it is based on the real-life brutal murders he carried out for more than a decade without detection. Between 1978 and 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer targeted and killed gay men, some as young as 14. So not only was he screwing dead bodies, necrophilic, he was a pedophilic. He targeted gay men. And you notice it says he carried it out for more than a decade without detection. You're talking about black gay men were a lot of his victims. Of course he would not be detected. These people, especially these like serial abuse, these serial killers, they know exactly which demographics to target so that bitches won't give a fuck. You think the police give a fuck about your gay black ass, especially in those times? Like, without detection for more than a decade? Like, they knew exactly which demographics to pick. They knew exactly which type of people to pick to avoid detection. And then now y'all, some of y'all sitting on here lusting after his fucking mugshot. It's just so corny to me. So the article continues, Jeffrey reportedly killed 17 men between 1978 and 1991. He preyed on men and typically black, Asian, or Latino men. I seen that, I mean, from what I could see, the majority of the men that he victimized they were black gay men. I mean, that's from what I saw, the limited shit that I saw, because I'm not watching that shit. My brain cannot handle that shit. Like, I'm just not doing it right now. Like, and of course, it's not to say I'm not gonna ever watch a documentary on crime but the way that it's being treated in the media is just, or on social media as well, it's just weird. It's weird. And especially if the family's coming out here saying, or some family is coming out here saying that they're being re-traumatized by things. I just think that a more real conversation about the way that we do this shit or talk about this shit should be had, because it's just ugly to me. It's messy to me. Jeffrey was methodical in the way that he sought his victims out and killed them. He often picked the victims up at gay bars, malls, and bus stops, according to biography, and lured them back to his home with promises of money or sex. Jeffrey would then provide his victims with alcohol he'd laced with drugs, and kill them. After the victims died, Jeffrey would have sex with them and dismember their bodies sometimes. I mean, I'm not going to go into because the shit that he was doing was heinous, drilling holes in people's heads and shit like that. So knowing all that, seeing all that, and then seeing gay men, like some of the very kinds of people that he would have targeted, like lusting after his mugshot and then acting like it's no big deal. Like, oh my God, what's the problem? What's the issue? I mean, if you don't see no issue with it, then that's fine. That's your shit. But the rest of the people who want to be protected, especially the rest of the community who want to be protected from bitches from situations like that, we gonna move a little differently than y'all moving. Y'all do what y'all want to do, that's fine. But there is like literally most of the rest of the fucking the gay community definitely ain't gonna be moving like how y'all moving. And I really encourage people to think about the shit that they saying and how it affects like the violence that we see in community now. Because a lot of times, and it's no shade, a lot of times the finer that your ass is in the gay community, the more muscles your ass got, the sharper your fucking jawline, the more bullshit that you can do and get away with it. Whether that be the corny, ridiculous, discriminatory, fucked up shit that y'all say online or in person, the more that y'all can be violent and get away with it, the more that y'all can be abusive and fucking get away with it. That's how it is. That's how it is. It's in every community, right? But because I'm gay, like, I just am speaking about the queer community specifically. It's a human thing, desirability and all that shit. We can have a whole conversation about that shit. But like, for the gays, honey, y'all know how it be. Y'all know how it be. If you walk around here and you fit certain beauty standards in the community, there's certain shit that violence, you can get away with violence in this community. So it's just literally just a symptom of a bigger problem. Like, y'all lusting after this fucking, and some people trying to do it to maybe seem like they're contrarian or whatever, like, oh, I can find him cute if I want to, it's not a big deal. It just goes to show how much growth we gotta do. It's so many, and I feel like that's why dating in the queer community is so tricky, because there's so many people walking around here traumatized, especially you queer and black, traumatized. A lot of times traumatized, but queer in general too, traumatized. From your upbringing, how you were treated, all that shit, how society treats you, traumatized. And sometimes I feel like it manifests in ways like this. And I just think that we would be so much better off, so much healthier if we had real discussions about some shit like this instead of pretending like this issue is not there. Because there is definitely, like, this is just indicative of a bigger problem in the queer community. Gross. Like I said, not everybody in the queer community is doing it. It's only a few dumbasses online, really. I just figured I'd tie that into how greater society, like just American culture, treats people who are abusers. A lot of times people are serial killers, like all type of shit, violence. Like how this country, this society's relationship with violence and the queer community's relationship with violence. So yeah, tell me what y'all thought about that. I just saw certain reactions. I was just like, this is really gross. It's really gross. Let me know what y'all think. Love y'all so much, and make sure that you have a good goddamn evening.
Hey, Hades, can you fuck me in your all black Mercedes? You can take my soul, just let me be first lady. But I won't sacrifice this